Aloha, lads and gents. Welcome back to a new and to the last episode of A Sense of Capital Insights time of business year 2024. Therefore, first of all, I wish you and all your beloved ones a happy new year, and hopefully you started quite successful and healthy into this now started new calendar year 2024. Before we jump into the last update of my investment portfolio, a quick disclaimer as always. What you will see in the upcoming minutes is no financial advice or consultation whatsoever, and it's completely up to you in which kind of investments you put your money in, and always make sure that you do your own due diligence and research. Alright, let's start. When we talk about the past 30 days and the activities which happened during this period, honestly, not so much action was going on, but there was a very new and specific step because I invested in a stock I was not a holder before. It is called Grab Holding. It's basically a company which provides an ecosystem, a super app platform for mobility, food delivery, and financial services in the Asian region, so Vietnam, Malaysia, Singapore, etc. I will give you more details to the stock within the upcoming 30 days. Already prepared a video and make research, just need to record it right now and then it's done. But for sure stay tuned in terms of this company. Honestly, it's not this high hope call I did, but maybe it's a great catch for you. For me, it was definitely worth an investment, and after you have seen maybe my video, you are more interested, do your own research, and well, who knows, maybe you will invest as well, and hopefully we both together will have joy with the stock. Coming to the smaller part of my portfolio, the ETF section. As you can see here, it was a quite successful period with roughly 5.3 yield during the past 30 days. As you can see here in the below chart, that it was mainly driven by the small cap section of the US shares and as well of the European stocks. As you very likely know, the small caps are a little bit more realistic and lower valued than the large caps, especially the IT driven ones. So I guess there's still some upside potential left. When we talk the overall allocation, nothing has changed too much. Even if I rebalanced my ETF portfolio 30 days ago, it is already getting out of control, and the US is going forward and taking the lead like it was always in the past the case. It's crazy. US is just that strongly, and you always think now the EM region will take and go ahead, but that's not the case. When we talk about the sectoral allocation, we need to keep in mind that I'm holding two ETFs with momentum factors in the US and in Europe, and they get reallocated on the 2nd January of this year, so tomorrow. And I guess it will not have that strong impact on my portfolio or in general on the allocation of the two momentum funds, because I think information technology was already winning in the first half of 2023, in the second half of 2023 again, so I guess it will stay quite constantly. Now we come to the headline of my portfolio, the single stock section. As you can see, nothing has to change too much. Still holding the same shares more or less, beside the exception of Grab Holdings, what I've already mentioned a few moments ago. This period was again a very successful one with roughly 10% up. So the 30 days before, we're talking about 33% roughly yield, which was in the positive way affected, and now again 10%. So really we crossed the finish line of this year with a lot of momentum, and I hope we can use this momentum and take it into the upcoming business year. But let's see what the future brings. I'm already excited. I'm feeling very comfortable with my setup here. Never felt so comfortable actually than today. Very convinced by each of those stocks, and it's great to already share a certain level of experience and past with all that shares. Again, in brackets Grab, which is not included or involved in this calculation. And as you can see here, Alphen again had an amazing month with 35% up. Last 30 days period, I think we talked about 60% up, so crazy. This stock almost doubled in roughly 60 days, and actually I expected that Alfen will have come back earliest in Q2 upcoming year, so somehow they accelerated very quickly. To add some words to Stoneco, as you can see here in the mid chart on the bottom part, again a great bar and roughly 20% up. But honestly, I can tell you, I mean, I was always strongly convinced by Stoneco, and I'm still convinced, and I see a lot of potential left. But when I take a look on my valuation sheets, Stoneco is not already anymore in the best shape in this terms, and therefore, as you can see here, it was ranked down from 2nd position to 5th position. And Grab, the newcomer, I positioned it on rank 6, so we will see how this will work out. I'm not 100% convinced, but still I think it's a great share, and I definitely want to take a shot here and take the chance and see for sure more upside potential than downside potential, but it's more a gambling position. Beside this, Himson-Hurst stayed solid on rank number 1, and here and there was a small shift. The biggest one, in my opinion, is Perion, which is now placed on 2nd rank. I have very high hopes for this stock in the upcoming months, and later on when we go into the news section, get a little bit more details about all the different stocks I'm a shareholder of, you will understand why I have positioned it and ranked it higher than before. In advance of jumping right into the news section of the single stocks, just want to give you a little bit a taste of how I acted or behaved during the past 12 months. As you can see here, the arrow is always the first initial investment into a stock, and the plus icons symbolizes adding further shares to my portfolio. And as you can see here, especially when we talk about Alfen and when we talk about the further investments, even after the first initial investment, resulted out in a very good yield and was definitely worth the money, and I was very lucky here, honestly. Himson-Hurst was kind of a struggle, a lot of different small chunks I sent, and I really hope that 2024 will be the payout year for Himson-Hurst, and I have very good feelings about this. For me, honestly, as mentioned already in the past Perspective Time episode about Himson-Hurst, it's just a matter of time. All the signs seems quite positive. Stoneco and Nu, on the first glance you can see it was just a rally up more or less. Stoneco had a small gap, but basically it went straight up, especially Nu. I even pushed a little bit money later on into the stocks because I was just simply convinced by them. And honestly, I can already mention to you now, the same procedure will happen very likely tomorrow on the 2nd of January. Right after the opening bell will ring, I will invest quite a heavy chunk into Perion because my conviction is increasing from week to week in terms of this stock, and therefore I need to put the money where my mouth is. As always, the first news belongs to the healthcare service provider Himson-Hurst, which is located in the US. And as you can see here, and which was already stated in the past Insights time period, finally the weight loss program was launched by this company. We will see if this will be honestly a game changer on the mid and the long term. At least the management of Himson-Hurst is still quite convinced by this product section. It's basically a blend out of this medical management, digital tracking tools, and customized educational content. So every single subscriber of this program receives a personalized, individualized program to reach their goals in terms of weight loss. The potential is huge. I mean, of course, Himson-Hurst is not the first one who's entering the market. You know, some other very famous companies are running very quick on this path of weight loss business. But this aspect is not without any reason. As you can see here, I mean, 42% of the Americans are considered to have obesity, and additional 31% of them are considered with overweight. I'm so excited to see how this program will work out for Himson-Hurst. And please guys, keep in mind that when we talk about the midterm revenue goals of Himson-Hurst, weight loss management is not considered at all. Yeah, so that's just a bonus, that's just the icing on the cake. and I think the cake is already now tasting very well, and because of this aspect, way better. Coming to the next news, which are addressed to New Holding, the Brazilian financial service provider. And here, actually not that crucial, but I wanted to mention it because it's somehow an interesting aspect, yeah? So Morgan Stanley named their 24 global single stocks with a huge potential for the upcoming business year, and New Holdings was attached with the highest upside potential with roughly 95%. Yeah, so that definitely has some weight and is a statement in my opinion. The second one, which was stated by Morgan Stanley, was actually Devon Energy. I don't know this company honestly, guys, but it was attached with 57% upside potential. So all I can say is hopefully Morgan Stanley is right. Regularly the best comes last, but not in this case. This time, these are the news right in the middle of all the other news, which for me are the most exciting by far. And guys, I will put now a small video section of the insights time period of the past 30 days into this video, so you can see what we talked about 30 days ago. And latest, when the third aspect hits, which is in my opinion a potential acquisition of another company. As I mentioned, they are working with a huge budget of roughly 500 million US dollars. Huge, especially compared to the company value. If they acquiring really a new company, or they investing somehow efficient and successful, then definitely there will be some kind of a strong breakout. Sometimes it is how it is, yeah. You think about something, you are somehow visualizing it. No joke, I mean it was not affected by myself or whatever, and it was not a big secret, but actually it took place, yeah. Perion finally executed. They utilized the existing cash, or at least a part of the cash, and purchased and acquired a new company, a full stack company, and this company is called Highstack. What you can do by utilizing Highstack, if you are a brand and you want to publish some adverts on digital billboards, which are somehow located in one of the 32 different countries Highstack is active in, then you can just knock on the door and yeah, you can run these campaigns through Highstack, through their partners, get out the analysis, the measurements, the results, was it successful or not. And yeah, we're talking here about a full stack service. So it's not just about providing the side of the publishers who are running the billboards or just the brands who are looking for it. They're really connecting both sides to each other. So Perion by themselves, they running this more or less staying at home advertisement business by CTV, search engine advertisement, etc. This is the core business of Perion, but as well on a full stack level, yeah. So publishers and brands get covered. That's not for every vendor in this business the same scenarios. Some of them are regularly presenting the publishers, the others the brands, and Perion always try to cover both sides and bring them together. That's their core business, and they was looking for as well a company with the same identity, and with Highstack they found it, and somehow they're now closing the door and really covering the 360-degree client service, because the at-home service is covered by the regular portfolio, and now with the acquisition of Highstack they can even cover the clients when they leave their home and cover the advertisement input people nowadays living through by using the billboards. And of course, what I've mentioned in the past insights time period, they announced the service Wave for the podcast audio driven advertisement business. And so now really Perion is on a good track to cover a very modern, very broad located and spread diversified portfolio of different advertisement services. And the advertisement market is growing very rapidly, even if rumors said, yeah, in the past months advertisement business was not going so well. Actually, for me, that's not an excuse. Perion proved the business can go well. The numbers have been always very right. And actually, I did a little bit of research about the advertisement market in the US. The demand is increasing year by year. It's not like last year was a little bit challenging. Companies didn't run ad campaigns. That was not the case. The demand is increasing on a very constant base and scale, and I'm very confident Perion will participate out of this on a strong level, even more now with the acquisition of Hivestack. And what is great actually, and just to mention it, Hivestack is a Canadian company. What is great, out of their 500 million cash reserve, there's still roughly 400 million left for further acquisitions. And the management of Perion already mentioned, for sure, with guarantee, another acquisition will take place in 2024. Based on some questions and the feedback on the management, it sounds for me like this might be even a larger one than Hivestack. But for me, it's more about the first move to really provide a signal. Okay, we was looking for companies. We stated it for years. We are looking for companies and we want to utilize our cash position. And now they really nailed it and made the move, yeah, and stand to the words they have mentioned and not just talking about this aspect, yeah. So that's definitely a great deal. And to tickle those boxes we mentioned, we discussed on other calls. So the first box is definitely tickled. Utilizing the cash and acquiring new companies, what they promised for years, now this taking place finally. Then the Microsoft prolongation exclusive agreement looks very promising that it will get extended in the upcoming business year, second half of it. And the overall advertisement demand is on a good level. Maybe there will be even further momentum in the future. Yeah, but as I mentioned already in the single stock section, there are big reasons why I want to invest more and more money into my Perion position. And this is the case even without considering the acquisition of Hivestack or the acquisition of a potential company in the upcoming business year. Just based on my own personal calculations in regard of a fair value of the company, for me a fair price would be roughly something between 70 and 90 US dollars. And keeping in mind the stock is now on the price of 31 US dollars, there's more than 100 till 200% upside from my perspective at least. And of course this is not only but as well highly affected by the big cash position compared to the market cap. I think market cap is 1.5 billion of Perion at the moment, and the cash position is still, after the Hivestack acquisition, roughly 400 million. So much room to go, so much room to grow on the revenue and on the profit side. Whew, cooling down a little bit after this amazing news, and now we're going more further with a little bit more normal news on a normal level. Going on with the last two news of this episode, both addressed to StoneCo. And as you can see here, StoneCo announced additional board changes like in the past periods, and this time it was more directed into this financial service sector, and they hired a guy who's called Gilberto Galtard, who is from now on a member of the management board. And what is great, this guy seems to be very, very experienced when we talk about financial business. He was active in MasterCard for years. He was active at Citigroup for years, guiding Latin America's, the international markets. So I'm very happy that they first make this restructuring in the past months in terms of the software department, the links business, the ERP business basically. And now they're setting a higher focus again on the financial side and making sure they're taking the lead and getting the best out of the existing potential. I like this news, even though if honestly I don't know Gilberto Caldat personally and hard for me to evaluate what is really the adding value by this decision, but the direction they are heading now sounds for me definitely right. Another news which is resulting out of the activities of StoneCo, they announced that there is some kind of a package of roughly 470 million US dollars in credits by the US government, which they can utilize in the upcoming 6 or 7 years. Honestly, this topic is a little bit complicated for me as well to understand. I'm not so heavily involved in this, but I decided to mention this here as well because it seems like everything goes right for the StoneCo, even if the valuation going higher and higher, and based on my own valuation calculations, there's not so much room left anymore for StoneCo. But as long as they really bring out one great activity after the other and resulting out of this new good news like this, I think they are just right on track to much more success. What is great here, they have simply more financial power. This money, as far as I understood, can get utilized primarily to companies who are driven by female power, by female staff members, so they're covering a certain allocation of female-male ratio. And I guess even if it's not a heavy-weighted game changer for StoneCo and the business is already going well, it's definitely beneficial and adding value. And what I like here as well, I mean, that the government could decide out of roughly 20 companies which are active in the financial sector, and one of them is StoneCo. So for me, that's a good sign as well, that companies like StoneCo, or when we talk about the news before of new in regard of Morgan Stanley, I like that those companies located in the Latin American regions getting more and more attention of the overall institutions, players, stakeholders and investors. Done with the work, if you want to state it as this, and going on with the nicer part, and this is in this case the summary and the performance of the past 30 days and basically the end of the business year. And as you can see, the ratio between ETFs and single stocks shifted even more heavier in the beneficial perspective of single stocks, which is covering the portfolio with roughly 84% of proportion. The main driver was honestly the investment into Grab holdings of roughly $7,000 US. That was the highest impact on the portfolio, but still the ETFs increased by 5% and the single stocks had a yield of 10%. So this was as well affecting the overall ratio between ETFs and stocks in my portfolio. Going on with the performance, as you can see, we are done with the year, and I'm honestly a little bit proud of myself, and I'm proud as well on the stocks and the management and all the staff members who have been involved into the companies. I always try to invest money in companies and not just to stocks. Somehow talking about a digital world, a digital game or whatever, for me it's the real world, it's real companies, real acquisitions, real money is involved. I'm very happy with a yield of 27%. If you check out the Insights time periods 2 months ago, I was in the negative, in the red with 12% roughly, and now I'm up with approximately 27%. So that's just simply for me a great achievement. It's great as well that I beat the benchmark ACWEIMI with 12% in the plus. For me, it's more important that I find my own path as an investment guy. As I am describing myself at the YouTube channel, I'm still in the learning curve. Even if I'm running a YouTube channel, I'm definitely not the professional one or I'm that highly experienced. I just want to share the path I'm going through with you guys, and hopefully it's entertaining you as well, and we will see how this will grow over the upcoming years. Hopefully we stay all healthy and we can experience it together. That's the most important in my opinion, and I keep my fingers crossed that was the same case for you guys. No matter if you achieved a higher or a lower yield, most important for me is that I catch up with the inflation, and that was for sure the case in this business year. And let's see what the upcoming 12 months bring. As I already mentioned a few times, I'm very confident with my setup. I like to have this hobby and the chance to just live through this exciting period, exciting times, and always being a little bit emotional and involved into the different decisions and outcomes of the companies I'm a shareholder of. I hope for you it's the same feeling, the same experience, and you like or almost love it on the same way as I do. Here, coming to my mood, I really pushed the bar to the maximum right direction, to the status of relaxed. I mean, as I mentioned, you can always be concerned, and if the vibes are too positive of the overall market, I'm always sharpening my sensors and making sure I'm not missing anything and getting too positive. But in this case, I think there are many reasons why you can be confident, especially when you feel happy with your setup. And I invested some time during the past days of holidays and make sure I'm still happy with all the stocks I'm holding. And I'm almost surprised how good it performed in the past 2 periods, in the past 60 days. Yeah, sometimes you are unlucky, sometimes you're lucky. This time I'm feeling very lucky and blessed. Of course, I'm not taking it for granted and expect the next year will be the same year. I try my best so this will happen again and to be proud again on myself. But being proud and having a good mood is not always about the result. For me, it's always important as well how the path to success or unsuccess was and if you did the right decisions, at least based on the informations you had. And when we talk about the activities and the outlooks for the upcoming 30 business days, you can see actually there are 3 words which I stated here, which doesn't look so crazy, but they are crazy. And it's stated disposal of ETFs. Yeah, so you read it right. What I will do tomorrow is I will sell all the ETFs which I'm owning at the moment, so roughly 17% of my portfolio. The larger chunk will get invested in Perion and the smaller part will get invested as well in Grab. And I'm just following here really my conviction and my experience, my competence and my research results, and I want to stick to them. I mean, honestly, ETFs, it's almost an emotional thing. ETFs are the fundament of my investment career and why I joined the stock markets, and it's really the basis of everything. And I developed as well my own setup here and how I invest in the ETFs on an ongoing base. And it was somehow a little bit harsh decision to really step back from the ETF section, but I want to be just consequent. Yeah, I want to be strict when I talk about my decisions, and for me it's nonsense to have stocks which I'm not really convinced about, and at the same time when I have ETFs and I just think it's nice to be invested in Nasdaq and EM and whatever, and I can dance on all these different weddings, it feels great, but it's not about feeling it. The result should be right for me, and the feeling should result out of making the right decisions, at least as I mentioned, on the right informations. And for me, the information is that I have good experience and a good feeling right now for single stocks. No matter if the result was a good one this year or not, it was this case, fortunately, but even if it would not be the case, I have the feeling now I'm ready to get 100% into single stocks, and that's the reason why a disposal of the ETFs I'm currently holding will take place tomorrow. On the other side, I will just go on with my regular debt redemption. This will get lowered as well by the tomorrow sale of the ETFs. It's just something what I like to mention because I want to be honest and 100% transparent to my audience and making sure not hiding anything. And of course, if I'm working with debt and I am leveraging a certain amount of my investments, I want to state it here in the Insights Time episodes. Alright guys, this was it for 2024. I'm very happy with the outcome. I'm very happy to start my YouTube channel and share the experience with you. I hope you enjoyed the adventure so far, the trip so far, and I hope you liked the video. If that's the case, please subscribe to the channel. Please give me a thumb up and like this video. It's always very motivating for me to receive this kind of feedback. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out, no matter if you send me a private message or set up a comment under the videos. I'm always willing to respond as quick as possible to it. I hope you have a great start with your beloved ones into 2024 and you stay healthy for the upcoming months. As always, most important and crucial aspect from my perspective. All the best to you guys and see you next time. Cheers, guys.